Okay. So welcome to our Wellness Affiliate meeting. And we're going to start by, okay, here we go. Now I'm good. There we go. We're going to start by, I'm just going to do a little bit of a business update about kind of where we are. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Wellness Affiliate program just to kind of remind you, and then answer any questions that you might have. But and Marty, chime in whenever I'm missing something or leaving something important out. And Marty may be adding some things to the business update because he's the one who's kind of taking care of all the logistics. But just to let you all know, we almost have our whole ordering system ready to go. What you're going to have the ability to do once the system is live is you will be able to place orders right online so that you don't have to call me or text us or whatever, or send us an email. You'll be able to just place your orders right online. And so we're excited that that's going to be taking place. And we're just trying to get all of our ducks in a row. So it's a very big process, which we probably didn't realize how much time it was going to take when we started. But Marty, do you have anything to share with respect to that?
No, not really. Just that, yeah, it's still taking a lot longer than we would have liked.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're almost there, and so I'm hoping that within another week or two we're there and we can go completely live. So that'll be good. And as we do that, then it's going to make it easier for us all, because then everything is going to be automated. And, you know, you'll get emails when you place an order saying we got your order and all that kind of stuff. You will get, we haven't yet put in all of your information, so you guys don't all have accounts on that system yet, but I will be putting all that information in, and then you'll get an email saying that you can go ahead and set up your online account. So just be watching for that. That will come pretty soon. Anybody have any questions about any of that stuff?
So I do, Sharon. Are we going to be paying for shipping additionally?
No, the shipping is included. We don't have to deal with that. So we just, now the pricing includes the shipping, so there's no additional charge for the shipping.
Great.
Okay.
Yep.
And then let's just talk a little bit about the Wellness Affiliate Program, just so that everybody's kind of aware of your opportunity with respect to that. So obviously, all of you are signed up as Wellness Affiliates, and you can go ahead and sell the product that you have at retail. If you have someone that says to you, you know, I'd like to do that too, when you enroll another wellness affiliate, someone who's going to be paying the same price that you're paying, and they also want to sell the product, then you're going to receive 10% of that total volume for those people that you enroll. So their volume, you'll receive 10% of that as a commission. And so it's it can be really quite lucrative to be able to do that. So that is something, and as long as you stay active, and what we mean by that is you spend at least $100 every 3 months, which if you're using the product, that should be very easy for you to do. Then you will receive that commission. As long as you keep that $100 every 3 months active, then you'll continue to receive commissions on anyone that you enroll. So anybody have any questions about that?
No.
All right, great. So I'd like to take the opportunity now to have each of you introduce yourself and tell us your name, where you live, and kind of why you're interested in being, making an impact with others by selling this product, and then share your experiences. I'd love to hear your wonderful experiences, things where you found that CBD has benefited you. And I know some of you are just getting started with the use of the CBD. So if you don't yet have amazing stories to tell, that's fine. Just share whatever you do have to share. So Marty, why don't you share first?
Okay, I think everybody basically knows my story. I will tell you one thing that I've noticed, that when I take obviously CBD all the time, but if I miss a dose or two here and there, which I've been doing lately, just because I've been really busy, I still get the relief. So once you get it in your system, and once you get it going, and once your system is getting the benefits, I think that you'll find that if you miss, that it gives you a nice rounded. If you do it as a supplement versus as a specific treatment, I probably can't use that word, but as a specific whatever, I think you'll find that it works a little better. I still, everybody knows I took opioids for 3.5 years. They invented the what is it now? The opioid-induced constipation drug for me. I don't need that anymore, so that's really nice. But yeah, it's changed my life, and that's kind of why I'm so.
When you said supplement, use it as a supplement. What else are you using besides the CBD?
Well, for my, I use some stuff for, let's say, blood pressure. My family has a history of high blood pressure, so I take supplements for that. And I don't
supplements for pain, as you would be taking the CBD for.
That's
right. Yeah. The only thing that I take for my back situation is the CBD.
And what's your normal dosage, Marty?
Well, I would say I'm probably, I would say a little less than 2.5 droppers. So I don't even know anymore. I think you're supposed to take a 1/2 dropper, and I don't push it. I would say I take a 1/2 plus 1/4, so 3/4 of a dropper.
And how many times a day do you take it?
I usually take it 3 times a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening. If I'm having a bad night, and I have my really bad days. I have really bad days. I'll take it extra. Like sometimes I'll take even 2 in the afternoon. I carry with me, I think I showed a couple of you a little vial. It's actually an oil, whatever, little oil. What do you call that, Margie? That thing I keep the CBD in. It's a
little 5/8 dram sample bottle.
Yeah, I always have at least, I always have at least 1, maybe sometimes 2 in my pocket. So every once in a while, I'll take it just as a shot if I'm not doing well, or if I forget to take it, I'm out or whatever.
How
long does
it take you to, when you do that and you have to, you're getting excessive pain during the day and you take your hit, how long does it take before you notice the relief?
I'm pretty lucky. I have the impact almost right away. I would say within 10 minutes, I can actually feel it. A lot of people I know can't, but if I take it, I can actually within 5 minutes, I would say, get relief.
So these little 5/8 dram bottles, they are 1 milliliter, which is 1/2 dropper is 1 milliliter. So this looks like it's smaller than what's in that dropper, right? But it isn't. It's the same amount. So these size bottles are great to carry with you if you need, a serving or 2 servings if you're going to be away from home and you don't want to take the whole 2-ounce bottle.
Or as Jerry said, a hit.
A hit. It's a hit, but that would be the language. That would be the lingo.
My habitual nomenclature.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, yes. Understood.
So,
That's my story.
okay. So I'm looking at my screen, and so Nancy and Jerry, you guys are you're next in line. So why don't you share your names, where you live, and kind of why you want to be involved in this, and then your experiences.
Okay. I'm Nancy Bernstein, and this is my husband Jerry Bernstein. We live in Chino. We got into the essential oils first, and we're trying those to help with things like I was taking Ambien and things to help me sleep. And so Margie brought this to our attention, and we went out and discussed it with her. And my husband has a lot of issues with arthritis and other nerve pain and such. And so we decided that this might be something that would be helpful to him. So we decided to try it. And as he just told you a bit ago, it was not a pleasant experience for him to take it, so he hasn't been. So today was the only second time that he's tried it, and we'll see how that goes, now that we know that we could flavor it a little bit to help him.
Right, right.
I took it one night to help me sleep. I had a lot of things going on, and I ended up having not such a good night's sleep, and I don't attribute it to the oils, but I have not tried it since. I need to do that.
Okay.
So.
Right. And as I'm sharing with everyone, I have found, as Marty has found, that when you take it routinely as a dietary supplement every single day, you are more likely to gain the benefits long term. And so situational use, like when you're having pain, that's not going to be as effective when you just take it when you have pain. It's going to be more effective if you get it on board. You take it at least in the morning and the evening every day. I think what you'll find is that you will not need to take it as often for that pain because you won't have it, you know?
Right.
So I think that that's
it's like an antibiotic or something. You have to take it continually in order for it to work. Otherwise,
so the effectiveness of this really, it does usually work better if you really keep it on board.
Okay.
Will you build up a tolerance to it by doing that, though?
You know, that's an interesting question, and my experience has not been that happens. So I think we just have to, everybody's going to have their own experience.
It's a learning experience.
But I haven't had that experience, nor has Marty. Both of us have had the same experience with respect to the benefits over time. We recognize the benefits much more effectively when we're using it consistently. And I think anything is like that, right? Consistent use over time is going to be more beneficial than taking it situationally.
How long do they well, I don't know what the studies show, but how long does it stay effective before the next dose needs to be, like a half-life, or where you build up an immunity to the pain through consistent
treatment?
Yeah, treatment. But I mean, like
you know, because it's a natural product, it processes in your body differently than synthetic things, and I think that that's a major piece, that the likelihood of you building up a resistance to it is less, because it's going to be acting in your body in a bioavailable way.
And
so I don't think you'll have quite the issues of building up tolerance to it the same way.
Okay.
LB, I saw that you had your hand raised, and I'm sorry I couldn't call on you sooner.
That's quite all right. I just wanted to chime in on that, Nancy. Hi guys, I'm LB. I'll introduce myself in a second, I guess. But when I first tried CBDs, it was not through Margie. The first company that I used, I was told to take it morning and night, pretty much the same time for at least 4 days before I actually experienced kind of full uptake, if you will. And from there, and it did feel like at 4 days is when I started to feel a little bit of a shift. And then from there, I've been using it regularly, but since I did have a moment of kind of forgetting for a couple of days. And when I brought it back into my system, I think it was enough in my system that it really only took like 12 hours uptake. So I think it depends. But, and then I was raising my hands to kind of say that was my experience. Also, Margie, does Pure CBD talk about any sort of certain amount of days? Like the idea behind this other company was to get it equally, you know, kind of like you were saying, Nancy, about having it in your bloodstream, like an antibiotic for a certain period of time and keeping it at that level. Is there a certain uptake time, or I haven't seen anything from Pure?
You know, and I haven't seen that particular information. And I think it's just that what we find is our experience.
Well,
You know, and I think we all adjust to it at a little bit different times. So I think it is relatively unique from person to person in terms of how long it takes your body to respond. But at any rate, the consistency of taking it is super important. To get it on board, to get it there consistently. Some people probably need to take it more frequently than, for example, I am. I just take it morning and evening, but I'm not experiencing great levels of pain. And I'm not trying to get some huge shifts in my emotional state or anything like that. So for me, my consistency is easy because I built it into my daily routine. And I did notice that my body kind of started uptaking it more effectively, probably in that same period, about 4 days. So
that makes sense. I mean, you don't use it like you would use an aspirin for a headache.
Right.
Because you've got
Correct.
chronic pain, you need to chronically be taking the medication.
Right.
Correct. And so that, I think that that's one of the things that some people don't understand is that you really want to use this. Like I had somebody talking to me about using it for menstrual kinds of things. You know, she had bad period pain and that kind of thing. And so she just wanted to take it, you know, like when her period started. And I like, that is not the way it's going to work best. It's going to work best to balance your hormones. So then you won't have that pain. You won't even have that experience.
Right.
So take it daily and then see if you just don't have that pain on your next period. And so that is something, it is a different way of looking at it, but it's the way that CBD works best done that way. Taking it as a dietary supplement every day.
Every day.
So I also spoke to someone who just started taking it yesterday, and she said to me she only needed to take, she was taking another brand of CBD, and she was taking it 4 to 5 times a day. And it was the same milligrams as what we have, but it was not sublingual like ours. And she only took it twice yesterday, and she had as much benefit as if she had taken that same 10 milligrams 5 times. So instead of 50 milligrams, she was only taking 20 milligrams, and she got the benefit.
Wow.
Is that based on the way you apply it? The fact that it was sublingual versus, you know?
I believe it is. I did tell her that it was likely because she was doing a chewable, and so she was digesting it. She wasn't getting it right into her bloodstream.
Right.
Losing a lot of the effectiveness through her digestive system instead of just getting it right into the bloodstream.
Right.
So I think that, and also she has issues with blood sugar, so she didn't want to be taking sugar in when she was taking her CBD. So for her, this is a huge benefit to her. So, you know, that's just another thing to be taking a look at.
Well, if the chemical, the CBD itself works, whatever form it is, CBD is CBD. But if it's one vehicle versus another, it may work differently on other people.
Right, and I think that the sublingual administration is going to work differently than digesting it.
Right.
or using it topically.
Well, look how quickly nitroglycerin works on people that they think they're having a heart attack, and that's taken
Sublingually, exactly. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's a very effective method of administration, and I think that that's super important.
right.
Okay, let's move on to, well, LB's now at the top because she talked. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm LB, and I live in San Clemente, south end of Orange County. And my why is I don't like to use the word suffer. I have been blessed with what's called PMDD. So instead of PMS, it's premenstrual dyseuphoric disorder. And it's essentially extreme PMS up to 3 months or 3 weeks of the month. And I've been handling it since I was about 16. I've been on every different kind of antidepressant, anti-anxiety med, everything. And I'm kind of over it because they don't really work all that well. And I have shifted into using CBDs, and they're miraculous. I've been using them, let's see, this is almost August, so about 4 months now. And I started with a brand that was far less effective, and it still made a huge difference. Then when Margie let me know that she was doing this and I switched over to that, it was, first of all, Pure is amazing, and I do really think that the sublingual thing has a lot to do with it. And just, I really don't know where I was getting this stuff sourced from. So I didn't feel good about what I knew it was working, but I didn't really know what was in there in terms of pesticides and that kind of stuff, because that's really important to me. And this was my original was in a coconut oil, or I think it was coconut, and it didn't have the hemp oil. And I really do think that extra little bit of THC and the entourage effect is significant. So I have been taking Pure for almost 2 months now. Like I said, I use it for my PMS or something like that. And I kind of ran a little accidental test on myself last week. I've been feeling so good, I just forgot to take my oils for a little while. And it was Wednesday when I realized I started to slip into depression. So PMDD is anxiety, depression, like really high-low waves. And I hit a depressive moment at around 11. And I mean, it's the kind of thing like you go in the corner and you're non-functional. And I remembered by 2 o'clock, I was like, oh my gosh, my CBDs. It took, that long for my brain to think of it. And so I took 2 doses, and by the 3rd dose at 7 p.m., I was able to take my daughter out to dinner and to hear some music with her out and about. And then my phases, if I go into a depression like that over the years, I've found it takes 2 to 3 days to climb out of it. And so it was from about 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. last Wednesday, and it was gone. And then Thursday and Friday were brilliant. So I will never forget my CBDs again.
That's a lesson. That's a lesson to learn, right?
I was so upset with myself, but I also thought, okay, now I really know, because I've been thinking for the last, few months, it's like, well, what if I was just going to have an easier cycle this time? What if my hormones have finally balanced them out now that I'm 40? Yeah, right, because they're actually going non-balanced. But now I know for sure, just putting them in. And I do feel like I had only missed a few doses, so I still had it in my system. So I was able to, and then that was going back to what you guys were asking in the beginning. I do feel that now that I have it going in my system all the time, if I have a moment where I feel like anxiety is coming up, I can take a dose at any time, and within 60 seconds, it's really shifted things. So I don't want to get to where I have to get it back into my bloodstream so that I can have that effect. I'm willing to invest my, to be regular with it. So that's me.
Thanks,
nice to meet you guys.
Thanks. Sarah, will you introduce yourself next, please?
Sure. I have to be on mute because Anne keeps escaping and coming in here. She's our 2-year-old. So I guess first of all, Margie talked to us about CBD, and then we really wanted to get my mom going on it because she's had a lot of memory loss and struggling with her memory and a lot of health issues, and she wasn't always really willing to do a lot about it. So long story short, I don't know as much about her memory yet. I don't also know how consistent she is. My dad's helping her, but he's funny. He thinks it tastes horrible. So I don't know how consistent he is. But what we have noticed and what he said about my mom is that she is much happier. So she was also very frustrated, and as you would be, as you can't remember what's real or not, or what's going on, or what's everything. So so she's been a lot, I'd say, more calm, less reactive, less cranky about things. So that alone is helpful for my dad and for my mom as well. And then for myself, I just thought, well, I have fibromyalgia, I have all kinds of the things associated with it. Let's try and see if it takes away kind of the aches and pains. And I don't know that I didn't notice anything significant with that side, but what I've noticed is a dramatic decrease in my anxiety and my frustration. I'm not sad to admit, I would yell at our little girls, not out of just wanting to yell at them, but just absolute frustration of, come on, just frustration, really. And now I think I yell maybe every couple days, which is good because it's a lot of times a day. And that's huge that I can stay, even at bedtime when I'm kind of done and they're bouncing off the walls, I can stay more calm. And that's made a huge difference. I know Margie told me this. She's like, moms take it because they're a better mom. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. And then I'm like, no, I get it. It's very true. So it just keeps me calm. And then that keeps everybody more calm, not entirely calm, but and now so crazy that LB, you talked about PMDD because I teach fertility care. So I know all about, and so we know more natural ways, but not every way. And I struggle with a lot of fertility issues, as well as PMS, not to PMDD levels, but bad PMS. And I've done a lot of different things to balance hormones. But I've noticed, but funny thing, right? I did all the things we don't think about. I noticed this cycle, I was like, oh, there it is. Well, that's funny. I didn't really have as much PMS this time. Whatever. I wonder what happened. Duh. Of course. So now I'm like, oh, that makes sense because now I've been consistent with it for probably, Margie, a couple of months where I'm taking it morning and night. And I will speak to the sleep part. Now, with using Serenity and cedarwood oils, I can fall asleep. I'm also exhausted, but I can just, fall asleep. My brain actually will turn off with the oils. I need those at night and to fall back asleep. But Margie talked to me about taking it before bed because she got a deeper sleep. I will say, I think there was a couple nights I didn't hear them on the monitor, the kids on the monitor. My husband actually woke up, and I've been a light sleeper for life, right? And then just recently, I don't even remember him saying goodbye in the morning, not at all. I mean, he's in and out of the room. I mean, I always wake up. It's bright out because it's morning time, right? And I am gone. So that's been a big piece as well. I don't know that it didn't help me fall asleep as much as, but I definitely slept better to the point where I was so much more tired the next day because I was like, oh, that's what sleep feels like. Look at that. I should do this more often.
You're not, when you're doing it, you're not going to stop taking the Serenity.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, I need those. Yeah, I have to. Those actually help my brain calm down and turn off. And I just feel a distinct difference with those two right before bed. The last thing I do, and it just
Now the
my
cedar,
brain
would
can
you put
actually
it in a diffuser, or you take, or is it something you take?
Oh no, I put it on the back of my neck, right at the occiput, and then I put Serenity everywhere else.
Okay.
I just spread it all over.
I do the Serenity, and then I do lavender on my wrists. But I didn't know about the cedarwood. So
Yeah, cedarwood. Serenity has cedarwood in it, but a little extra cedarwood right on the occiput is super helpful too.
Okay.
So. Okay, let's see.
Oh, sorry. I used to be from California, and that's how I know Margie, but we live in Illinois now, Chicago area.
Okay. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Laura, is that you on the phone too? Because I know you were on.
Yes, my phone overheated and it shut off and it wouldn't turn back on. So I'm very sorry. I missed most of what you all have been talking about. I just came back on when the woman was talking about the PMDD.
Okay. All right. Well, that was LB, and that's all right. You want to share a little bit about yourself, please? You know, your name, where you live, and why you're interested in working with this.
Okay, sure. I'm Laura Bazerman. I live in Aliso Viejo, California. I know Margie and Sarah because I'm a wellness advocate for doTERRA. I became a wellness advocate because I have a condition called interstitial cystitis, and for most people, the best way to explain it, if you're not familiar with it, is for women, if you have a UTI, think of that times 1,000, 24/7 for the rest of your life. That's kind of what I have. And so I was able to get off pain meds with the use of the essential oils, and it really helped my condition. When Margie talked to me about CBD oil, I was a little resistant, actually, because I'm like, I'm already doing oils. What do I need this for? And I finally, I signed up because I do see the value in it, and I thought, okay, well, let me try it. So I actually started taking it only a few weeks ago, I think, and I really didn't notice a difference, actually, Margie. For like the first week and a half, I was kind of like, I don't think this is working. But I will say probably about 2 or 3 days ago, I went through my day without thinking about my bladder. The inflammation in my bladder was pretty negligible. And I was like, oh my God, I almost feel normal again. And so I really had no pain, and even my urgency frequency was reduced. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And then I did notice, like Sarah, I use my other oils to go to sleep, but I noticed the last couple of nights I was sleeping better, not waking up as many times, and I forgot to take it last night, and I didn't sleep as good. So now that it's in my system on a regular basis, I am noticing a big difference. Because the oils have really helped, and I've done a lot of things, but the CBD oil seems to have taken the inflammation even down further. And I do have my mom on the CBD oil. She's trying it as well. She has a very bad eye, and she has inflammation in her eye, and so she's using it. So I told her to give it a couple of weeks because for me, it seemed to take, I didn't hear other people's stories about how long it took, but for me, it seemed to take like a week and a half to 2 weeks for me to really see a difference. And maybe that's because I'm so inflamed, I'm not sure.
And I do think that's why, Laura. I think when you have extreme levels of inflammation, it's going to be very gradual, that it seems that it comes down just a little bit each day, so that by the time you get a couple weeks in, you're feeling significant relief. And that certainly sounds like that it's been your experience. And so that's awesome. And you're taking the 600 and you're taking it twice a day.
Yeah, I take it in the morning and I take it at night, and that's what I have my mom doing as well. And she said, well, I haven't really seen a difference. And I said, well, it took me a while, and she's got significant inflammation in her eye. So I'm hoping that she sees a difference over the next week or so.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Patty, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you? I think you're there. Are you muted? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe. Okay. How about Sharon? I know you're there.
Yep.
Okay. You want to
Okay, so
name and where you live and
yeah. Okay, so I'm Sharon Carton, and my husband Roger and I are got into the business. We live in Lake Forest, and we met Marty and met Margie through Patty, who is either on mute or gone. And so my husband has been researching CBD, or ways, I guess, to reduce his anxiety and sleeplessness, and that's probably it. He's been researching it for quite a while and came to figure out CBD about 6 months ago and was kind of researching different ways to get it in and all that stuff. You know, I do some other oils, and I'm on staff for David Wolf when he's in town at the conferences. And so I've had a couple other CBD oils that my husband had tried, but I had never really tried them. And he started taking, so Patty told us about this, and we're like, oh, okay, we can get it just for, let's see. So my husband tried it, thought it was great, and I thought, well, okay, then I've got to try it. And it took me like 2 weeks to really feel all the benefit, and it was amazing for me. So I just have very high anxiety as well. I never got anxiety until a year or probably a year and a half ago. And I was starting to have a lot more anxiety. I'm having issues with my son, and I just haven't been sleeping well for a long time. But for some reason, even though he was trying the CBD, I wasn't. So I finally started trying it with this CBD, and after 2 weeks, it was amazing. I feel a lot calmer. I'm sleeping. I sleep through the night. I don't wake up through the night. I can fall asleep way faster. My mind is not busy. And I'm actually taking 3 doses of the 600 every day. So, and my husband, like I said, he's found that it's really good for him as well, and reducing his anxiety, and he's sleeping better. And even though he wakes up, he can fall asleep once he wakes up. So we've both found a lot of benefit.
Yep. So great, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can try Patty again. Are you there, Patty? I know you're there because I see you there. I don't know.
Hey, Margie, I have a question while you're waiting for Patty.
Sure.
So normally the dose is 2. When would we tell someone to try 3? Like if they're not seeing a benefit, or?
Yeah, I would say that if someone is taking it for, a week or more and they haven't seen the kind of benefit they're looking for, I would tell that, and some people may just want to do that more quickly than that. But I would say, if they've tried it for 3 or 4 days and they're not getting to the benefit they want, because, there's no toxicity been measured with CBD. So it's not a problem to take more.
Well, it's not been measured, or that there is no toxicity?
No, there is no toxicity. There are no toxicity levels. So it's not a problem to take more.
Okay.
And because there's no psychoactivity to it, there's no reason not to take more if you need it. And in fact, a little bit later, I was going to talk about, but maybe I'll talk about it right now. We are probably going to be introducing a 1,500 milligram, which is going to be, 2.5 times, what the 600 is. So that if there are people that really have chronic pain or chronic situations, something, I shouldn't use the word chronic. That's not compliant. Sorry, but they're having, some significant issues, and they want to, continue with the CBD, they could take 2 servings of the 1,500, and that's going to give them way more CBD activity than 2 doses of the 600. So someone taking more is fine. So Laura, for example, if your mom needs to take a 3rd dose because she's not seeing the benefits that she's looking for, that's perfectly okay. Or like Marty does, he takes about 3/4 of a dropper full at least 3 times or about 3 times a day. So he's taking, a time and a half each time, and it's totally fine. There's no issues with that. So it just depends on what people are dealing with, and so that is going to be, it's fine to take more. Does that help, Laura, with what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to our next slide. There we go. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time on CBD, what it does. I think you guys already know, so I don't think we need to spend a lot of time. But what I do want you to know is all the graphics that we're using here today are available to you, so that if you want to make a presentation to people or you want to share information about CBD with others and you want some more resources than what we've already given you, these things are available. So this slide, CBD and Your Health, it's right from the CBD Pure website, and it talks about mental health, that cannabidiol promotes a healthy state of mind and general well-being. General health, it's important as it's a dietary component for promoting health and wellness. And restoring balance, it helps promote balance to the endocannabinoid system in the body. So all those things are, really good ways of talking about CBD. And so this kind of information is definitely available to you. We'll just talk briefly. These are just slides that you can see that you can share with others if you need to or want to. That CBD is great for different organs in your body. You can see on the left-hand side, for those of you that are watching the webinar, and those of you on the phone can see this later, I'll send you the link. The human endocannabinoid system we have receptors in our body that are cannabinoid receptors, and the CBD, we look at this as a lock and key system, right? The receptor is the lock, and the CBD is the key that can go into that lock and open it up. And so it helps us, our bodies can uptake CBD in really effective ways. And that's why it works so well. It's this natural thing, just like with the essential oils, because I know a lot of you are essential oil users. It works very similarly to the way the essential oils work. It can get inside the cells, which is different than synthetic products. Drugs can't do that. They can sit outside the cells, but they can't permeate the cell walls. So this gives us the ability to really affect in a very positive way our organs and our other body systems to uptake the CBD. So anyway, just wanted you to see that those kinds of things are available. These are just, I'm not going to go into reading these to you, but this is also some, this is stuff that we found on the internet, and it's really some good stuff about what cannabinoids are in what part of the, what specific cannabinoid will affect different body systems. So both of these are good. And I think some of you, I've forwarded you these slides also, so you can have them, but you can ask for them if you want them. The key advantages of CBD. Yes, Marty, unmute yourself, honey. Unmute yourself. No, you're not. I can hear you because you're in the next room.
I shut off my speaker instead of my mute. Could you, could you explain why we can show materials like that? Like if you back up that one slide, I know that you're going to talk about compliance and stuff like that in a second, but that uses disease and health benefits, and it's very, very specific. And a lot of this is obviously not compliant with what we would normally say. So how can we use this? Can you explain that?
Thank you. Yes. So this slide with the health benefits, and I won't even use the word that I'm not supposed to use because it's not compliant. this information is something that you can share person to person, in person, or maybe in a personal email to someone. But this is not something, because we can't make health claims, we can't talk about disease and that CBD can treat or cure or any of those kinds of things. So we can't use that on the internet, in social media posts. We can't make any health claims in social media. So when you're posting on
How come they can publish it?
Because they're not selling the product.
Okay, that's okay.
When it's for educational purposes only and it's science-based, they can do that. But when we're selling a product, we can't make any health claims.
Okay.
So anything on the internet, anything that's public, over the World Wide Web, as people used to call it, we can't make any of those kinds of claims. We can just say that there are health benefits there, and we'll get into that right now, actually.
Right.
So,
but the reason is the basis of the reason is because we're selling it. We have to disconnect the science claims or descriptions and the sale of the product.
right. So that's the bottom line. Thank you for making that clear, because it's very important that when you are selling something and you're not a medical professional, you're not a licensed professional that can make medical claims about things, and this is a dietary supplement, which you're not allowed, the FDA does not allow medical claims to be made about dietary supplements. And we want this to remain a dietary supplement because we don't want to have a prescription for this. There are over 3,800 research studies on CBD. And so the science is deep and wide. But we can't make those claims because we're not allowed to do that because we're selling the product.
No, but we can push people to those studies so they can see
Correct.
it themselves.
Correct.
Right?
We can give them a link to a place where they can find that information, but we can't do that on the internet. We can't guide them to that information, but in an email, personally in person, we can say, go to this website and it will give you information on studies. We can't really share the information about the studies or talk about that because we're selling the product, but we can guide them to the information.
So Margie, you said you have a link to send us so we can print out these charts and things that you are showing.
I can just send them to you. Okay. So if you want them, I can just send them to you. Okay. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
Let's talk about the key advantages of CBD Pure, and then we'll get into compliant language. So CBD Pure is certified organic hemp grown in Denmark. It's cold pressed, unrefined, CO2 extracted. It's the highest quality available, and it's free of pesticides and contaminants. Another really important differentiator is that it's independent third-party tested. Just like some of the essential oils that many of us use, it's the same criteria, the same high quality testing that the better companies use. And so this hemp oil meets all that criteria that's been so important to those of us that are providing this to others, sharing this with others. We want to know that it's going to be the same every time we buy that bottle of 100 or 300 or 600. It's going to be consistent in terms of what is included in that bottle. And so that's super important to me, as I'm sure it is to all of you. And the other thing, and some people, as Jerry pointed out, the natural hemp flavor can be an advantage or not. But I think that it is an advantage in many ways because our oil is in a hemp oil base versus, as LB noted, she was using a CBD before that was in a coconut oil base. And that didn't behave the same for her. So we are getting benefits from the hemp oil as well as the CBD in that. So all of those things are key advantages. And oh, you know what's not on here? The sublingual. I don't know why it is. Oh, it's in this slide. The sublingual is here. Sublingual administration is really an important piece of the advantages of CBD Pure, as many of us have noted, that we just get better uptake and better benefits. We just have more consistent benefits. So that would be kind of it in a nutshell. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. We're going to move on to compliant language, and I'm going to reiterate what I just told you, that when posting on social media, you must use compliant language, and we must not make any disease claims. What we want to stick to is structure function claims, and I'll explain that to you, and you'll kind of see what that means as we go through the next couple slides. Personal communications, as I already said, in person or via personal email. So not like an email that you send to 100 people, but an email that you send to a single individual. You can be a little bit more specific about sharing your stories and sharing information that's educational. But we don't want to do that in big forums like social media or giant classes that we might host or big events, that kind of thing. We need to keep it more personal for us to be able to use our stories in a powerful way. And on this slide are the disclosures that we personally use. These are the ones that are on the CBD Pure site also. And so they're just disclosures about what we're allowed to say and not say. You know, so representations regarding the efficacy and safety have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA only evaluates foods and drugs, not supplements like these products. These products are not intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any disease. We have to say that anywhere that we're making public statements about it, and we need to be very careful not to make those disease claims. That the cannabidiol in CBD Pure is a natural constituent of industrial hemp, and it's legally imported. CBD Pure does not sell or distribute any products that are in violation of the United States Controlled Substance Act. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure, blah, blah, blah. Always check with your physician before starting a new dietary supplement program. These are just our disclosures. It keeps you safe. So if you know, but again, we're not going to make disease claims. And these disclosures you're free to use these as well.
Right.
Yeah. So let's get into what we can say, and then I can take some questions from people if you're, you know, because I want you to feel that you have complete ability to use your skills in sharing with others. So we can make cosmetic claims like saying this cleanses the skin or this improves the appearance of fine lines or something like that. We can use structure function claims, which with CBD, that's more of the kinds of things that we're going to want to do. We can use words like health, wellness, supports, promotes, maintains, reduces. We can use lifts, mood, things like that. So when we get more specific, we can say, when someone may ask a question like, will this treat anxiety, right? Someone might say that to you, and you can't say, yes, this will treat anxiety. But what you can say is that it lifts mood, it supports mental clarity, it reduces irritability or reduces other you can use other words like that. And it promotes, it maintains heart health. So body system health, you can say it maintains respiratory health, or, you know, those kinds of things. You can, as long as you use those words that stick with health and wellness, you're okay. So let me go to the next slide and then we'll see a little bit more. The words and statements that we want to avoid are things like using disease, illness, cure, treats, repairs, chronic. We don't want to use diseases like, we don't want to say things like cancer, it treats cancer, diabetes, autism, colds, flus. Or we certainly don't want to say, use this product instead of this drug. That is a direct, no. A direct no-no. Yes, good language. So let's just take a look at disease claims and then the things that you could say instead, right? So we're not going to say relieves insomnia, but we can certainly say supports restful sleep. It's the same thing. We just changed the language. We can't say reduces anxiety and depression, but we can say it uplifts your mood. We can't say it soothes arthritis pain, but we can say it supports cartilage and joint function. So as long as you see what I'm saying, we're staying with the health side of the equation. We're not talking about the disease or the condition. We're talking about maintaining or supporting or promoting health and wellness.
We're not discussing medical claims or anything like that. No cures, no medical claims.
Right. So as long as, if someone says to you, will this help my insomnia? You can say, yes, this supports restful sleep. Because you used compliant language to answer their question.
Correct. Okay.
And that's the best way to do this. When because people say to me all the time, will this help arthritis? And I say, yes, it supports healthy joint function. So I'm answering their question with compliant language. And this shouldn't be frustrating for you. I think a lot of us that have been working with the essential oils for a long time are very clear on this, because we don't want to get ourselves into trouble. We don't want the FDA breathing down our necks, and we don't want them taking away our privilege to share these products with others. So,
but again, when we're with somebody one-on-one,
yes, one-on-one, you can be a little bit more, you can share a little bit more broadly. So that's the main thing. It's just social media where you really need to be super careful, or on the internet itself. You don't want to put anything on your website that's making any kind of a claim. So that's really the main thing. Anything that's published publicly, you need to be very careful of. And that's kind of the bottom line. Questions?
This 1500, is that something that's in, you said it's in the works right now?
Yes, CBD Pure is trying to come up with a 1500 milligram CBD, and they asked us to give them an idea of how many bottles we thought we could sell and how many bottles we would want to order if we had that available. LB, are you raising your hand like, yes, you would want that and you would buy it? I think it's going to really help people that have, something that they really are wanting to help, some issue in their body that they want to support in a big way.
I find I'm using dosing like fairly regularly through the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I would prefer to not have to carry it in my pocket, etc.
Right.
It's not that it works every time I use it, but it seems like if I just had my bloodstream at a higher level of it, then I may not have to pull out that little amber bottle.
Right. And I totally am with you. And I think that a lot of people, we've had a lot of customers, retail customers, who are asking for something like 1500. So that is something that I know that we're going to have benefit from. The one thing is the price point is a lot higher because it's a lot higher strength.
Sure.
So, so a 50, we're looking at the retail is going to be around 175. And we don't know what the wholesale is going to be yet because they haven't established a price point for the wholesale price for us. But the retail price is going to be about 175. So people, yeah.
I'm using it so much that I'm going to end up paying that much eventually.
Right.
And I would rather just, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that that's the case with a lot of people, rather than, because it will be relative to the price of the 600. If you look at 1,500 being 175, it's
Right.
not, it is cheaper than using a few 3 bottles of the 600.
Sure.
So I think that because it's that's kind of the compare, right? It's pretty close to that. So that is kind of what we're looking at. And so I think people will be willing to spend that. So that's just kind of, I think a lot of us are going to be wanting to use that.
Just feedback.
Sure.
Am I unmuted? Yeah. Just feedback is that I feel, I don't know, maybe some people will want to jump into the 1,500 milligram, but I have a feeling when you're talking to CBD Pure, that most of my people that I would be interacting with would probably not jump straight into the 1,500. It would be once they're using the 600, or I honestly, I still can't quite figure out why there's a 300.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Why even have the 100, 300? I don't know when I would.
No, I am, but it's great for. I use the 100 on my daughter, and I feel she's only 7, and I feel like she doesn't have to take as much. I don't know. I guess I could. That's the thing. I could give her 1 drop of the 600.
You could, but I think some people will be more reluctant to do that. So I think that let's just address the 300 thing, because you can ask Marty, and he says to me all the time, you only want to sell the 600, but I'm starting to realize that there is this kind of, I think that there are some children who could use the 300 very safely, that need more than the 100 for, whatever it is. So I think that that's one way. Or there are people that are sensitive, very sensitive to things, and they might want to start with the 300, and then they might want to go up to the 600. Or if I could probably use the 300 instead of the 600, because I'm not dealing with any serious things that I'm trying to affect. I just use the 600 because I want to be sure I get the benefit. But I probably could.
Is there a guideline as to when we would, recommend which strength we would recommend?
So
being brand new, I really don't know when I would tell someone to, I know if it's chronic, use 600, but how do I know? Because I don't want them to buy the 300, not have any benefit, and then think it doesn't work.
Right. And that is an issue. So if you look on the end user flyer that we provided to most of you, I don't know if all of you have it, but most of you do. There's a little description on there.
I don't think I got that. I don't remember seeing that.
I think you did. It was, but I can send it again to, if you I'll check my files and make sure, because I know who has it and who doesn't, because I saved all of them. But the flyer, the most current flyer tells you a little bit about the 100 and when it might be used, the 300 and when it might be used, and the 600 and when it might be used. And that kind of will help guide you a little bit as to what, Marty, do you happen to have that in front of you? I don't even think are you in your office, Marty? I don't think he is. Okay, well, I don't have it in front of me.
This one, Margie?
I can dig it up.
Margie, is it this one?
Let me go up to.
Yes. That looks right.
Yeah, it is that one.
Okay, it's the Holistic Life Presents CBD Pure. This is what the front looks like.
Oh, okay. Is that the end user one, or is that the wellness affiliate one? I guess is that the end user one? I think so. And on the back,
that's that information on the back.
Yeah. So that's the one. So if any of you, and Sharon, I don't know if you have that, because I don't think I sent it to you, and I don't know if Patty sent it to you. So,
yeah, I don't.
Okay, I can send it to you. I think the rest of you have it though. Am I right?
I have it, yes.
I do.
And Sarah, I sent it to you today because I realized you didn't have it. And Sharon, I think you may be the only one that doesn't have it. I apologize. So anyway, I think that should be helpful, Laura, in giving you a little bit of a guideline.
Okay, I'll go look for that. I don't remember seeing it, but I could have just looked at the wellness affiliate one and didn't look at the end user one. I don't
Right.
remember, and I'm not in front of my computer. So
Yeah, that's fine.
Margie,
So,
does this have any THC in it at all?
yes, it can have up to 0.3% in the whole bottle.
Okay.
So the plant that this comes from is cannabis sativa, which is not the cannabis that's high in THC.
Right.
It's naturally occurring, low in THC, high in CBD.
Okay.
Cannabis indica is high in THC and low in CBD. And so they're not the same plant. That's something that is really important to be clear about, because industrial hemp, which is cannabis sativa, is what the high CBD comes from.
Okay.
If you smoke marijuana indica on a regular basis, do you have a supply of CBD in your bloodstream anyway?
Did you get that?
If you're
no.
Indica
But
on a regular basis, the pot, do you get levels of CBD, higher levels?
No. You get high levels of THC, but you never get high levels of CBD with pot.
But is there a level of that maintains in your body of the CBD?
Is there a level that maintains CBD in your body at all?
That is a question that I can't answer.
Well, I think too, though, you're taking it differently. So it's not sublingual and it's not getting into your bloodstream. You're smoking it. So it's
right. And it's coming and it's going. It's not staying.
Right.
Because it's not some of it's obviously absorbed in your bloodstream. That's why it will show up on a test. But it's the THC that is hanging around.
Right.
Because it's so much more prevalent in the indica. So,
I have a question about that.
yes.
Will this amount of THC show on blood tests?
So I am not comfortable saying that it won't, because what I'm comfortable saying is that if you take it according to the label, it's probably not going to show up. I just don't want anyone to lose a job because I said that it wasn't going to show up.
That's a problem, because I would like my daughter to do it, and because I think it will really help her, and she's a special ed teacher, and if they test her, she could
right. So I don't know, and I don't feel comfortable saying that it isn't going to show up. I don't want anybody to be the test of that. But the reality is,
somebody did ask that question before, and we did a little research, and it all depends on the level. There's different levels. There's, I think, 2 different kinds of tests for marijuana, and the 2 different tests, the trigger point for a positive result is different, but it's very simple. If you can find out what that is, or what we learned through this research was that, because it's 0.3%, THC as part 0.3%, that you would have to take an enormous amount of CBD for THC to show up, because it's only 0.3% of the content. But that said, like Margie said, I wouldn't want to be the one who told somebody that. But if you look on the internet and you do research, I think you'll find it's pretty much, you'd have to drink 10 gallons a day.
So, and I think the point is, if someone is taking much more than what the recommended amount is on the label, we don't know what the spillover point is, you know, like how much would you need to take in a 24-hour period for that to spill over? It shouldn't be enough to show up. But I don't want to be responsible if someone takes a blood, you know, has some kind of a drug test and they get fired from their job because they had.
Right. I just tapped into a whole like recovery situation, and they're all interested, but they're all tested. So.
Right. So yeah.
We didn't get permission for one of them to be the tester person.
The guinea pig. I'm not really interested in having anyone have a significant problem.
Well, I do for blood work, so I should start taking it and then just go tell my doctor to put on blood work, whatever test to be drug tested to see what shows up.
That would be an awesome thing to do.
That would be great.
Well, make sure your insurance covers it, because drug tests can be very expensive and you might get hit with a very big bill. So just be really careful.
For that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is if it's like if somebody's in a recovery program, I would ask the question of whoever's, you know, I'm interested in taking CBD. It has very, very little THC, and get some feedback from them. Because I think it's important that somebody in a recovery program is honest with whoever their sponsor or whoever they're working with, and they. So I would just tell them to be upfront and honest, and that's the best policy.
Definitely, and I think that's really smart to do that, because then it's opening up the conversation that CBD could be helpful for people that are in recovery, which we know that it could be.
They need it.
Of course they need it, but because of the drug testing issues. So that's a discussion that is really important to open up. And so it might be incumbent upon us to open up those discussions with people. So yeah, I think it would be, I hope we have research on that in the not too distant future, so that we can be a little bit more able to answer some of these questions that we really don't have answers to. So.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have some comments or want to share anything? Okay, well, thank you so much. This was really fun. I was really looking forward to this afternoon and having all of you together, because I think it's going to be also nice as we build this community. I want you guys to know that you're on the ground floor here with us. You are the people that have brought our dream to fruition. So thank you for joining us on the ground floor. I think the sky is the limit, and we can all be super successful with this. Marty, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
No, not really. I think you all know that for years I sold products that end up in landfills, and it's nice to actually sell a product and be involved with a product that helps people.
And I think that's a lot of us, that's our why. You know, our why is because we want to help others. We want to help as many people as we can with things that are really going to benefit their bodies and benefit their spirits and benefit their minds. So I think that we couldn't be in a better place. And I'm really thrilled that all of you have joined us on this journey, because I know that it's going to be a great one, and we're just getting started. So
Margie, Jerry wanted to know how often you're going to be having meetings like this.
So I'm planning to do, it really kind of depends on you guys. I was thinking of weekly. You know, we could do, sometimes it can just be question and answers, and you can hop on if you have questions. Other times can be, you know, I'm actually going to do content. What do all of you think? Would you be interested in attending?
As you get new information or you add people on that have stories that might be helpful to others, then you just send us an email that you're going to do something like this, and if we're interested.
Okay. All right. Well, I do plan on doing a welcome meeting like this. It's kind of just the basics for people that are new as they come on. Okay. That I definitely do weekly as we get going. I'll wait till I see we have a group of new people before I schedule another one like that's specifically this general thing. But we are definitely planning to do education whenever you guys want it and whenever I feel you need it. So it's
Okay.
going to be kind of that give and take kind of thing. Please ask, and if you start having lots of questions, let's do it as a group so that we can share all together. Because a lot of times people will have a question that someone else didn't even think of yet. And wouldn't it be wonderful to share the information with everyone before they have that question? So we can all benefit from this information. And I don't pretend to be the expert on every single thing, but if I get a question for someone, I will research it, and together we'll figure out the answers.
Okay.
So, you know, we're all kind of in a learning phase. You know, we don't know everything about this product. I've studied it quite a lot, but I still have lots to learn. So I think we all do.
Yes.
So we'll all learn together.
Great.
So, Margie, can you send me the link to be able to get those slides?
Yeah, I'll send you that. And you know what I'm going to do for, let's see, I'll send the slides when I send the link to this recording.
Okay. Okay.
So then anyone who doesn't already have them will then have them. And
Okay.
for Sharon, I didn't yet send you your personalized things. I will send that to you as well. So everything else I think already has the personalized pages. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
we're really happy to have you. And we're going to